Hi, we'd like to welcome everybody out to Surprise We Both Love Movies. This week, we have a movie that I think both Lamont and I were looking forward to called Mortal Kombat, which is basically almost a remake of the film that came out in '95. In every sense of the word, it is a total remake. This has no ties to the original movie. And in this film, we start out with a very engaging opening sequence where it takes place in Japan, and there's basically a raid on this guy's house. His name is Hanzo. I can't remember his last name, Hisashi or something like that.
Hisashi or something. Yeah.
But he goes off to get something, and his family is basically murdered by these mercenaries that come into the town. There is a massive fight that ensues at the beginning of the film, which was a really big highlight of the movie, which kind of kicks off the storyline for the rest of the film. And then it comes to modern times where we find a bunch of people end up having a tattoo on their body that's not a tattoo. It's not even a birthmark. It's something that has been ingrained in them because they have been chosen to fight in Mortal Kombat. You find out there are different realms within the universe, and there are different layers, and they're getting fighters from all these different layers to come in and do this Mortal Kombat. Well, the person running the Mortal Kombat competition doesn't like the people from Earth and wants to destroy them before they can even get to the tournament. So that's basically what this movie is. In fact, we never get to the tournament in this movie. This is kind of like a precursor to what's to come. So Lamont, what did you think about this movie?
All right. First off, I was super pumped up. I'm like Mortal Kombat. We all remember it as kids. Countless hours spent mashing the buttons and learning all the special moves and finding out a friend who knew the finishing moves for particular characters, or because there was no the internet was in its infancy, so there wasn't you had to know somebody, you had to have a cheat code, somebody wrote it down, or it was very, very young. So a lot of that stuff happened word of mouth and through a lot of trial and error when you were a kid on your old Sega Genesis or Nintendo 64, or actually Nintendo 64. Yeah. So I'm excited. And the first, Mortal Kombat was a little disappointing. Even in 1995, I was like, that's not as cool as a video game, but it's better than nothing. So finally, in 2021, we get a reboot of these characters, iconic characters. And let me tell you, the first 5-10 minutes, they go into the Scorpion story and how he came into existence. And it's exciting. It's really exciting. You like what they did with the opening scenes. You get to see a little bit of Sub-Zero and the character that will become Scorpion. And they did that very well. And then we kind of flash forward into modern ages, and we run into Sonya and her situation. Sonya is one of the weaker characters as far as personality is concerned, but was definitely an upgrade from the 1995 version. So it was like, okay, she's they're explaining things, and for some reason, every character who comes in has to say who they are. I'm Kano, I'm Liu Kang. Everyone announces who they are, so it's just clear to the audience exactly which characters these are, as if we're not familiar with them from the past 20 plus years. So after you get past that, though, you get really thrown into the Kano character, who comes and kind of steals the show. The actor that played him did an excellent job, brings a lot of liveliness and just charisma and charm and comedy to this movie. Once you got off there, you kind of learned the different storyline than the original movie, and it kind of takes off. It's kind of interesting. They did it's a little bit gory, just like the the video game, a little bit more so than the first movie in 1995, but it worked, and it was a really interesting twist that they put on these characters and on these newer characters that weren't in the original one, but they did a great job of bringing them to life. What'd you think?
I think I had the opposite reaction than you. They bring in a brand new character in this movie that was never in the games by the name of Cole Young. He's the kind of the guy that this movie is wrapped around, and I got to tell you, he was the worst part of the whole movie. I didn't like his character. I didn't like what they did with him. I thought his costume was ridiculous. The whole storyline with him, it didn't, to me, it was the way his family reacted when they were under peril was ridiculous. This movie to me was a farce. This was a cash grab by the studio. I felt like we got a partial film, but we didn't get a whole film.
I'd agree. It was partial.
The fight scenes were great.
Very much improved.
The story, though, oh my gosh, the worst thing in this movie are the characters. The only memorable character in the whole thing is Kano. Everyone else are cardboard characters. There's no depth to them. They bring in Goro early in this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are they doing? Like, everything about this film made me scratch my head. I love the opening sequence.
Mm-hmm.
I love the final fight and what you see with Sub-Zero and Scorpion and how this all comes to be. But outside of that, I felt this to me was a big letdown. I had more fun watching the 95 version, and the 95 version also had better music. I liked the Sonya better in the original film than I did here. There was nothing to like about Sonya in this movie. It was a throwaway movie to me. This was a total throwaway film. I'm hoping the sequel will be better.
I'm sure.
There is a reveal at the end of the film that I'd watch a sequel if it comes out, but I'm not going to have high hopes because this to me was a very disjointed story from the way it was told and the characters. You don't care about any of the characters. And
I would agree with you. Like, really, the Cole character, that was where my enthusiasm was like, pew! I was like, who is this? I don't remember this character.
Yeah, well,
who
he wasn't in the game.
And then when he finally discovers his powers, you're like, what? I don't remember him at all. He's not even that good an actor. Why is he the star of this movie? Like, I would have rather anybody of the other characters been like the protagonist of this movie. I don't know why they decided, you know what? We need to find somebody who's unknown, who's untested, and we need to give them the starring role in this movie called Mortal Kombat that everyone loves. That was where it kind of went off the rails for me. Everything else, though, was very well done, but it's hard to get past a bad protagonist, and unfortunately Mortal Kombat falls victim to bad protagonists in this situation.
Kano was entertaining, we'll tell you that. But I honestly thought they were going to make Cole, Johnny Cage, but Johnny Cage is not even in this movie. And so I was very let down. I walked away, while I enjoyed what was there and it's going to keep you entertained, I walked away feeling very unfulfilled. I thought it could have been so much better. It just seemed to me like they were just going in. It seems like a major cash grab by the studio without a whole lot of thought put into it.
What about the remix? They remixed your song at the end. I was like, oh, that's going to make Aaron happy.
Yeah, they did. They did remix it. It was good. But that was it. There wasn't enough stuff in the film, though. The music in the film was very uninspiring. The opening shot was the highlight of the film. Great music.
Great music.
The only time you have any real emotion, the beginning was really well done, but it's downhill from there. And
all right,
it was interesting, but not engaging. What was your score on this one?
For me, it was easy. It was leaning in a very high direction in the first few minutes, and then it leveled out and had a lot of ups and downs, and it ended up being a 7 for me as a movie. No film score, whatever depths that it would reveal might be revealed later on, but it was just a movie score for me in this one. It is entertaining. I did think it was more enjoyable than the original, and I really look forward to a sequel that I'm sure is guaranteed to follow that will hopefully have a lot more depth and a lot more Mortal Kombat, literally. What about you?
I gave it the exact same score. A 7 for me is a movie that may or may not come into my collection. I think it's going to depend on the sequels. I won't buy this one when it comes out. It's something that's passable, but it's not something I would choose to watch again. It's not. There are some films where you want to go back and watch them over and over again. This is not one of those films. So I would give it a 7. No, awesome. Obviously no film score, just a movie score. So, and I think you'll be happy to know they plan on making 4 more films. That is what is planned in the series. But I have fond memories of this because I used to work at Burger King down at 19th Avenue and Thunderbird, right by the school, and they used to have the Mortal Kombat machine in Burger King, and we used to play it when we got done working at night. We'd stay there and play tournaments and stuff. It was a lot of fun. They had that, and they also had the what's the other one? The Street Fighter 2.
Oh yeah, that's hugely popular. Yeah.
So we used to go there and eat 99-cent Whoppers for lunch and play some games. So
and everyone used to smoke.
Well, not the people I hung out with, but
Burger King was known for smokers. All the smokers went there. Oh, it's very
Possibly outside, but we were always inside playing the game.
Well, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us, and for those who haven't subscribed already, in the bottom right-hand corner, click the subscribe button and join us on Spotify, Facebook, and obviously on YouTube. Well, for this week, I'm Lamont Lovejoy.
I'm Aaron Fisher.
And we'll see you guys soon.